Good morning, friends. Welcome to the session on 3 must-know tips for the WAT or the written aptitude tests. And today we'll be talking about abstract WAT topics. Okay. So, first of all, what is an abstract topic? An abstract essay is one where the topic does not directly relate to any specific content. In other words, the topic is abstract in nature. Okay. What does this mean? It means you cannot directly read the topic and say, okay, this is what we are talking about. So for example, if a topic is demonetization, you know exactly what we are talking about in reference to the Indian economy. However, if a topic is green is the new gold, okay, so the topic says green is the new gold. Now in this case, you have no idea or you cannot directly correlate the topic to any specific current affair or any general knowledge item, right? So this is called an abstract topic. What you write in such a topic depends on how you interpret the topic. So the topic is open to your interpretation. You are free to write whatever you want. What is the reason why some institutes prefer to give this kind of a WAT topic to you? Now this kind of a topic checks many things in a student. This kind of a topic checks, first of all, the student's ability to think laterally. What do I mean by saying laterally? Now, how broadly you can think. How beyond the obvious can you go? This is what is meant by lateral thinking. Okay, I'll explain this in more detail a little later. It of course checks the depth of your content. So whatever interpretation you have done, how deeply do you know about that particular current affair or that particular piece of general knowledge? Okay. It also checks the validity of your linkage. Suppose the topic, like I said, is green is the new gold, and you talk about environmental concerns. How being environmentally friendly or doing CSR for a company translates into greater profits. Now this is a valid linkage. However, if somebody talks about the UP elections and says how the UP elections mean green is the new gold, the linkage is not so clear. Okay, so whereas the topic, when we say green is the new gold, it clearly links to environmental friendliness or environmental concerns. The linkage to a political current affair is not so clear. So your linkage should be absolutely clear. That is also what is checked. Just like any other essay, any other WAT, the panel is also looking at your writing ability or your written skills. How well you can present in the written form what you are thinking. Okay. You are checked on the structuring. How logically does your essay flow? In other words, how smoothly can I read your essay without getting confused? And finally, since we are talking about abstract topics, things like ethics, morals, beliefs and values also play a role. And it also highlights what you have your personal beliefs on certain topics. So your personal beliefs, your personal ethics, values also come to the fore in such an abstract topic. There are 3 must-know parameters on which you are evaluated in an abstract essay. Okay. The first is your content's validity. Okay. When I say content's validity, I mean how relevant is the content which you have written to the topic given. So whether the linkage is clearly established, it is clearly given for the reader to see, or whether the linkage is not so clear. So like the example I just gave you, if you translate green is the new gold and you write about political affairs, it may not be such an obvious linkage. Okay, so that is something which is not desired. So not only that, but also the depth. So if you are going to write about CSR, or if you are going to talk about environmental friendliness, or for example, you may talk about the odd even policy of the government of Delhi, or you may want to talk about the ban on diesel SUVs by the government, by the courts at Delhi. So if these are the topics, these are the pieces of content that you write about in this topic, then you should know about these contents in detail, in depth. Okay, so your depth is also checked here. Your statistics and your relevant industry knowledge is also very important. At the same time, we don't look at a single interpretation in an abstract topic. It is desired for the student to present multiple content pieces. Okay, so I want to see how broadly you can think, what is your lateral thinking capability. So multiple content points are desirable, are good in your WAT abstract essay. So therefore, for this, what do? You read a lot. You read newspapers, you read blogs, you read opinion pieces, editorials, magazines, and also get information online from trusted sources. So you build a lot of database of knowledge by reading. So the first evaluation parameter, which is very important, is your content and its validity. Okay. The second is your writing skill. It is very important in an abstract essay to write well, because unlike a factual essay where the topic directly relates to a piece of content, here your ability to write well is also very important. Okay, you must be grammatically very correct. Your nouns, your verbs, pronouns, prepositions, articles, adjectives must be in the right place. Your punctuation, your commas, your full stops must be mentioned clearly, and they should be correctly positioned. Your handwriting should be legible. Your spellings must be error free. Okay, you must write crisp, concise, short sentences. There is a myth among some students that the longer sentence I write, the better my essay sounds. That is not the case. You must write short, clear, crisp sentences to make a good essay. You can choose any writing style in a factual essay, whether it is first person or third person. However, in an abstract essay, it is always preferred to write in third person writing style. You must write your abstract essay third person style. Okay. The third point on which you are evaluated is your written presentation or the structure of your essay. Your essay must have three clear distinct parts. There must be an introduction in the essay, there must be a body content, and there must be a conclusion at the end. Okay, this is true for all essays. However, for abstract essays, what you are going to say in your introduction, what you are going to say in your body, and what you are going to say in the conclusion is very different from other essays. Okay, let's start with the introduction. The introduction in an abstract essay can be of multiple types. The first type of introduction is you can start an abstract essay by using a relevant quotation. So quotation of a famous person or from history, or it could be a current person from current business or politics, or somebody from well-known sphere. You could use a quotation there and you could start the essay. Please make sure that the quotation is relevant to your interpretation. This is very important. So the interpretation that you are making of the topic, the quotation must pertain to that. Okay? Or if you are not at that time able to remember a quotation right there and then, you could just start off in the introduction paragraph by telling the reader how you interpret the topic. This becomes the common theme which will be running across the rest of your essay. So if, for example, I gave the topic green is the new gold. Okay? Now I can start off the introduction with a quotation from a famous person. That is one possibility. The other possibility is I could start off by saying that I would interpret this topic to mean environmental friendliness and caring for Mother Nature. Okay, and that is one way to start this essay. Okay, now coming to the body. The second paragraph, the third paragraph, and maybe the fourth and fifth paragraph of your essay will be the body of the essay. Okay, the 4 paragraphs in the middle of your essay are called the body. What will this contain? These paragraphs contain content points. So these paragraphs will contain contents point of the interpretation that I have made in the introduction. So for example, if I am talking about environmental concerns or environmental friendliness as an interpretation, I would start off my body paragraph by talking about CSR initiatives of certain companies. Then I would talk about climate change policies adopted by the climate change agreement in Paris. Then the third paragraph, I would talk about maybe how we as individuals can do our little bit to save the environment. Okay, so at the international level, at the business level, at the policy level in India, and at the individual level, there will be 4 body paragraphs where I'll talk about at each of these levels how we can ensure environmental friendliness. Okay, maybe we can talk about the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan in this, right? So here now, this is the body. Each body paragraph pertains to one set of content related to the interpretation. Okay, the body of the essay, each paragraph is preferred to be populated with statistics and examples. If you can give statistics, examples and data points, it is always better than an essay which does not have these. Okay. Finally, the last paragraph of your abstract essay is the conclusion. This is the paragraph where now you give a summary of what all you have said in the beginning and at the body of the essay. So to conclude or to summarize, green is the new gold can be interpreted as a state of heightened environmental friendliness, which is the order of the day given so and so concerns. So this is how you would conclude. So this is just a summary of what you have discussed earlier in the body and the introduction of the essay, right? So this is the three broad parts of your essay: the introduction, first paragraph, 3 to 4 paragraphs in the body, and then one paragraph at the end. So in all, your essay must have 5 to 6 paragraphs at least. Now this will also depend on the word limit and the time limit given to you. If your word limit is just 100 words and the time limit is just 10 minutes, as you will see at some institutes, it could be even one single paragraph. So it's just a half a page, 100-word essay. So it is one single paragraph. However, if there are 20 minutes given to you and you are asked to write a 250-word or a 300-word essay, then you will make 5 to 6 paragraphs, one for the introduction, 3 to 4 paragraphs for the body, and then one paragraph for the conclusion. This will be proportionately longer in longer essays. Okay, so the body will increase or decrease depending on the time and word limit given to you. Okay, so what I would like to do now is I would like to give you a step-by-step approach of how to write an abstract essay. Okay, the first step in writing an abstract essay is reading and understanding the topic. It is very important to frame an interpretation in your mind. Okay, so once you read an abstract essay topic, like I told you, it will not directly pertain to any specific content. You have to generate that interpretation. So spend a minute or so just thinking how you would like to interpret this topic. Okay, next, once you have decided on the interpretation, spend another minute thinking about ideas or content points for the body. So for example, I told you green is the new gold is the topic, and now I have talked about environmental friendliness as the theme. Now I need to spend another minute thinking what are the different content points I would need to put in the body for environmental friendliness. So like I told you, one can be the Paris Climate Accord at international level. One, I can talk about national policy for environment. So maybe I can talk about the environmental policy or the environmental clearances given by the government of India. Okay, maybe I can talk about other legal and social policies which the government of India follows. Third, I can also talk about business initiatives, what certain business houses and companies are doing for CSR, for environmental concerns. And fourth, like I told you, for individual level, what we can do to save the environment. So there are these 4 points which I have thought about, and now I'll place them in my essay. So this is what you need to do in step 2. You need to think what are the different content points which can be generated, which can be thought of pertaining to that interpretation. Okay, here you can use acronyms to help you. Acronyms, for example, there are acronyms that at Bullseye we talk about. One is called SPELTHIR and the other is called POP beans. So for example, SPELTHIR stands for social, political, economic, legal, technological, historical, international and religious points. So maybe these are the guiding lights which can help you generate content. A lot of times what happens is that we have the content in back of our mind, but it doesn't strike us at that particular point in time. So this will help you remember stuff, right? So social, political. So then what you can do, if you remember this acronym, you can think, is there any environmental issue I can talk about from the social point of view, from the political point of view, from the economic point of view, from the legal point of view, technological point of view, historical point of view, international point of view, religious point of view. So you can use these kind of acronyms. yourself to help you generate those body content points. Okay, so once you spend the first couple of minutes on step 1 and 2, then you go on to step 3 and compose your essay. So this is going to take up the chunk of your time. This is going to be when you actually put your pen to paper and write the essay. Okay. Finally, please spare some time at the end to review your essay for grammatical errors, for writing mistakes, for any spelling errors that you've done. So any issue in terms of grammar or English or writing level, you must correct at the end. So this is how you step by step write the abstract essay. Okay. Now I would like to give you a topic, and I would like all of you to take a pen and paper right now and write an essay. So I'm going to give you an abstract essay topic. Please take a pen and paper and write the essay. Please give yourself 15 minutes and give yourself a word limit of about 250 words and write the essay. Okay. Please note that 250 words means one A4 size sheet plus half of the next sheet. So it's a sheet and a half. That is the kind of space allotted to you. Please write your essay within this space limit, right? So please stick to the word limit and the time limit and pause the video once you get the topic. You can continue the video after the essay is written. Okay. So please note down, this is your topic, to be or not to be. Please take 15 minutes, write your essay and then join this video again. Okay, welcome back. I hope you have written the essay by now. I'm sure as you wrote the essay, there are multiple feelings that would have gone on in your mind. Okay. I'm sure some of you would have felt totally confused on not knowing what to write, how to interpret this topic. Some of you would have felt that you've done a good job, that you've put certain good ideas on your paper. And others might have felt that I've done a decent job, but I could have done better. I did the best of what I could do. That happens to all of us, since this is probably your first time writing an essay after a very long time. Therefore, this is natural. So those mixed feelings, please keep them here. The objective of this exercise is to practice, and hopefully you will continue practicing writing essays as we go along. I will now show you a sample essay on this topic which I have written and which I hope will cover all the points that we have discussed so far. So to be or not to be. The introduction paragraph is a quotation, starts off with a quotation, right? So I have given a quotation by the famous Chinese philosopher Confucius, and with this quotation I think it is quite related to our topic at hand. Okay, and then in the next line in the introduction I have talked about how I have interpreted the topic. So I have interpreted this topic as a state of dilemma, a state of making a decision between difficult choices. Okay, so that is my interpretation. Now I have told the reader that this is the theme, what you can expect to read in the essay going forward. This is my first paragraph in the introduction. Next, I start off with the body. The first paragraph in my body is one example or one instance of a difficult situation where difficult choices needed to be made. So here I have talked about India's diplomatic relations with Pakistan, right? So whether it is Pathankot or Uri, a choice of how to respond has always been a difficult choice. Okay. So this is my first body paragraph. I'm sure you will note that I have also given certain data points here. Whether I have mentioned Uri or Pathankot or Dawood, I have given certain data, facts. Then I have talked about the Supreme Court's decision on lifting the ban on women in the Tamil Nadu temple. Okay. Now again, I have mentioned a specific case. I have mentioned the time when the ban was there, and so this is the data which supports my content point. Again, a difficult decision which has to be made. I have also taken the example of TRAI in the next point, that is the Telecom Regulatory Authority in India, whether they should allow internet service providers to charge differential rates. So I have been talking about the free basics kind of service which Facebook was offering some time back, right? Another point I have discussed in the next paragraph is about business. So if you remember, if you recall what I have done here, the first paragraph is a political, international, geopolitical tension issue. The second paragraph is a legal decision. The third paragraph is a business choice. The fourth paragraph is again a business choice. The choice faced by business companies when it comes to ethics, whether it is Volkswagen or whether it is tobacco liquor companies when it comes to advertising, right? So these are business choices which are difficult choices. The next paragraph is international again, where we talk about the European policy makers, whether they should allow the influx of refugees into Europe who are coming in from the Middle East and Africa. Right? So again, a difficult choice, whether they should impose border controls or whether they should allow these people to come in. So all of these paragraphs, the common theme is there that this is a choice which is difficult. These are examples from political sphere, from international sphere, from business sphere, and from legal issues. So I have used an acronym to help me generate 5 content points, all of which pertain to difficult choices. Right? So this has been the 5 paragraphs in my body. The last paragraph is the conclusion, where I've said, to summarize, the phrase to be or not to be signifies choices, none of which are easy but integral in our lives and do demand difficult decisions to be made. So it's just a summary of whatever I've discussed so far. Okay, so this is a sample essay for an abstract topic. Okay, before I close, some points, some tips to remember for writing abstract essays. Be very clear on your interpretation. Your theme which you identify, your interpretation which you tell the reader in the introduction paragraph should be absolutely clear. So basically, the introduction paragraph's job is to demystify. There is a topic which is esoteric in nature, which is mysterious in nature. The introduction paragraph should give a clear interpretation of what you make of it. Okay, so it has to be absolutely clear here. Since this is requires quite a lot of brainstorming and it requires you to think of different data points, different content pieces, please allocate 20% of the time given just to brainstorming and to interpreting the topic. Okay, so that means if you have a 20-minute time frame given to you, please allocate 3 to 4 minutes just thinking before you start writing. Spend the next 15 minutes or approximately 70% of your time writing the essay, the composure part. Okay, and then the last 10%, the last 1 to 2 minutes, you must quickly glance through and review your essay for any spelling mistakes, any omissions, any clerical errors. You must correct them at that stage. Couple of other things to note. Since this is an abstract topic, it is already esoteric in nature, please try to simplify things in your essay. Please make sure your language is simple. Avoid philosophy, avoid rhetoric, avoid jargon. Please try to simplify stuff. Don't try to complicate something which is already quite complicated. Okay, so please keep these points in mind when you're writing the abstract essay. A few other things that students often get confused with. If you are allotted a page and a half like I did for you, it is okay to use a little less space. Overshooting the space given is not good. Please don't overshoot the space and then write in small font at the bottom or at the sides. That is a no-no. Please don't do that. Please try to make sure that your body has at least 3 to 4 different paragraphs inside. So that means at least 3 to 4 content points should be there in the body. Overall, your essay should have anywhere between 4 to 8 paragraphs. Of course, assuming it is not a 100-word essay. Avoid personal opinions. Please don't give any personal opinion from your side in such an essay. That is not required. Okay? Try to avoid overwritings, cuttings, any sort of cancellations in the essay at all costs. Okay, please make sure that your paragraphs are clearly visible. The reader should be able to identify where one paragraph is ending and the next is starting. So therefore you can even indent your paragraphs. Okay, and like I said, you must give statistics. So you can give statistics even in the form of fractions. So instead of saying 37% of Indians are having access to the internet, if you don't know the exact figure, you can say approximately 1/3 of the Indian population accesses the internet. Right? So you can use fractions to help you when you are not sure of your statistics. Okay? So these are certain tips, certain must-know rules for an abstract essay. With this, we will close the video and I will see you again for another set of guidelines.